So, dear students, hope you are all doing good. So, in the previous sessions, we have seen deadlocks. We have completed deadlocks. So, I am assuming you also started workbook problems of the deadlocks. So, next in the continuation, we will move on to the next topic. So, that is threads. So, threads is a very small topic. We can easily finish, and after that, we will take up the workbook questions today. We'll try to solve the workbook, whatever is pending, okay, in the chapters 1, 2 and maybe synchronization also, if possible, we'll discuss that. So, let's move on to the threads topic. So, how do you define threads? So, what is the definition of the thread? So, let's try to understand the definition of the thread. So, note down, keep the heading, okay, keep the heading as a threads, make a proper notes. Now, first, so definition of the thread. Now, tell me, how do you define the thread? Simple definition of the thread. Okay, I think all of you studied already threads, right? So, how do you define thread? Okay, note down, the definition of the thread is, okay, thread can be defined as the lightweight process. Okay, the lightweight process. Understand here. So, thread can be defined as a lightweight process. Okay, it means what? What is the meaning of this? Listen here. So, thread is also just like a process only. Thread is also just like a process only, but is having what? Lightweight. So, lightweight in a sense, what is the meaning of weight? How do you measure the weight here? Weight मतलब यहाँ पे कैसे measure करोगे? Weight मतलब you measure in kgs or what? Kgs में measure करते हैं क्या? Right? नहीं ना? Right? So, what is the meaning of weight here? So, weight means, okay, note down, okay, weight means, okay, the first one is number of instructions. Number of instructions will be less. Number of instructions will be less, and the next context will be less. Note down, context will be less. Copy karo अच्छे से. Number of instructions will be less and context will be less. Now, what is the meaning of context? Sorry, context मतलब क्या होता है बताओ? Context means attributes, right? So, attributes will be less. Okay, I think all of you remembered. Process मैंने बताया था. Context मतलब attributes. So, I am repeating here. Okay, so thread can be defined as simple, the lightweight process. So, it means what? It is also just like a process only. So, it is also just like a process only, but it is having what? Lightweight. Lightweight in the sense what? Weight मतलब क्या बताओ? Number of instructions will be less and the context will be less, right? And next, generally what happens is, okay, let's say if you are having the large process like this, okay, let's say you are having a very large process. Now tell me, okay, large process means what? What is the meaning of large process? Okay, I am saying that, okay, let's say you are having large process. Large process मतलब क्या है? Process बहुत मोटा है क्या? Right? So बताओ, large process का मतलब क्या होता है? Large process means the process which is having more number of instructions. Like for example, you have written a very big C language program, okay, which is having around 10,000 lines of code, and that is converted into 1 lakh instructions. So that is a large process. Let's say you are having a very big Java program which is having around 1 lakh instructions. That is a large process. Like very big application like Facebook, okay, large process. Let's say very big application like Twitter, okay, or any website, very big website, okay. So which having so many, okay, background, okay, things, so many instructions, okay, to execute that program. So that kind of process is called as what? Large process. Now remember, generally, if you are having the large process, that will be generally divided into multiple threads. Now understand here. So let's say thread 1, thread 2, okay, thread 3 and thread 4. So that is generally divided into multiple threads like this. Okay, understand here. So that is generally divided into multiple threads. Is that clear for everyone? Right? Copy करो, देख रहे हैं कुछ लोग ऐसे ही. Okay, right. So copy karo. Now understand here. So okay, if you are having large process like this, that will be divided into what? Multiple threads like this. So thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, thread 4 like this. Okay, that's generally divided into multiple threads. See, first of all, why you are dividing like this? ऐसा threads को divide क्यों कर रहे हो? Why you are dividing the threads? Understand here. The answer is not just say, if you are having a large process like this, you are dividing like that, okay, into multiple threads. So why you are dividing like this? Okay, what are the advantages of the threads? Okay, let's try to understand. Next, okay, so keep the heading, advantages of threads. Note down advantages of threads. So why we are dividing, okay, like that. Let's try to understand advantages of threads. Okay, note down, copy karo advantages of threads. Note down, the first advantage is, okay, look at here. Let's say for example, okay, what is the advantage? Okay, I am repeating, if you are having a large process like this, okay, you are going to divide that into multiple threads. So why you are dividing like that? Let's try to understand here. Let's say for example, you are having Gmail. Let's say example, let's say every day you access the Gmail here. Let's say if you are accessing Gmail, remember, if the entire Gmail is designed as a single process, if the entire Gmail is designed as a single process, then it will take lot of time to show you the response. It will take lot of time to show you the response. Like for example, you are typing www.gmail.com. आपने type किया, browser में type किया www.gmail.com. You have typed that and you are pressing enter. Now remember, when you press enter, what happens when you press enter? Okay, if it is taking lot of time to show you the response, समझो कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा है, www.gmail.com आपने एंटर दबाया, ओके, अब कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा है. सो जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस, अगर कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा है, नथिंग इज कमिंग, बहुत स्लो है, सो जनरली यू डोंट हैव पेशेंस टू वेट, व्हाट यू विल डू, यू कीप ऑन क्लिकिंग ऑन द रिफ्रेश बटन. क्या हो गया, अभी नहीं आ रहा है, क्या हो गया, अभी नहीं आ रहा है, कीप ऑन क्लिकिंग ऑन द रिफ्रेश बटन. एग्जैक्टली है. बट रिमेंबर if the same Gmail is designed as multiple threads, if the same Gmail is designed as multiple threads, then you will get some response. Okay, मतलब आपको आएगा, okay, welcome to Gmail बोल के आएगा, तो क्या होगा, आप समझोगे, okay, आ रहा है तो अभी वेट करो, right? So it means what do you understand from this? क्या समझ में आ रहा है? So threads will improve the responsiveness. Threads will improve the responsiveness. Is that clear? So listen to me carefully. If the process is divided into multiple threads, then if one thread is completed the execution, immediately the output will be responded. Immediately the output will be responded. And remember, this response will be faster. This response will be faster compared to the response of the process. Compared to the response of the processor. Is it clear for everyone? Right. So that is the reason आप चेक कर सकते हैं, कोई भी वेबसाइट एक्सेस करो आप, कोई भी वेबसाइट, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया, ओके, कुछ भी वेबसाइट एक्सेस करो, जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस, कोई भी वेबसाइट अगर आप एक्सेस कर रहे हैं, ब्राउजर में टाइप किया वेबसाइट का नाम, सो जनरली एंटायर वेबसाइट विल नॉट डिस्प्ले इन ए सिंगल, ओके, शॉट, मतलब पूरा एक ही बार ऐसा डिस्प्ले नहीं होता है. कोई भी वेबसाइट एक्सेस करो, पूरा वेबसाइट एक ही बार नहीं आता है. कैसे आता? ओके, कुछ पिक्चर आएगा, कुछ एडवर्टाइजमेंट आएगा, कुछ इमेज आएगा, कुछ टेक्स्ट आएगा, कुछ वीडियो आएगा, ऐसा धीरे धीरे ओके, ब्राउजर का जो पेज रहेगा, वेब पेज में ऐसा दिखता है तुमको, राइट? सो व्हाई? बिकॉज इन द बैकग्राउंड देयर आर मल्टीपल थ्रेड्स रनिंग. इन द बैकग्राउंड देयर आर मल्टीपल थ्रेड्स रनिंग. एक थ्रेड कंप्लीट हो गया, एक आउटपुट आया, एक थ्रेड कंप्लीट हो गया, एक आउटपुट आया. सो समथिंग लाइक दैट. इज दैट क्लियर? सो नाउ टेल मी, व्हाट इज द मेन एडवांटेज? Main advantage of the threads. What is the first advantage? Responsiveness. No doubt. First main advantage is responsiveness. Okay, first main advantage is responsiveness. No doubt. Note down the statement. Keep the heading responsiveness. First advantage. No doubt. Keep the heading responsiveness. No doubt. If the process is divided into multiple threads, then if one thread is completed the execution, completed the execution, then immediately the output will be responded. Immediately the output will be responded. Full stop. This response will be faster. This response will be faster compared to the response of the process. This response will be faster compared to the response of the processor. Is that clear? So it means the threads will improve the responsiveness. That's the first advantage. Okay, no doubt. The next advantage is faster context switches. Faster context switches. Okay. So what is the meaning of this? Okay, faster context switches. Okay, listen carefully. Faster context switches means, okay, copy this. Let's say if you are having the two processes, like for example, process P1 and P2. So in between two processes, let's say you are having context switching time. Let's say this is a context switching time between the processes. Now same manner between the two threads also, like for example, you are having thread 1, okay, and thread 2. Okay, in between these two also you are having context switching time. Let's say this is a context switching time between the threads. Listen carefully. So this is a context switching time between the threads and this is a context switching time between the processes. If you observe the relation here, the context switching time between threads will be very less compared to the context switching time between the processes. Okay, if you observe the relation here, context switching time between the threads will be very less compared to the context switching time between the process, because okay, so context of the threads will have less context. Threads will have the less context compared to the processes. Is that clear? So मैं पूरा नोट्स देता हूं आपको, पहले इसको कॉपी करो अच्छे से, ये वाला कॉपी करो. कॉपी किए? राइट. नो डाउन द स्टेटमेंट. ओके, कॉपी नहीं करे तो पॉज करके कॉपी करना. सेम थिंग, बार बार बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. राइट. सो नो डाउन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट स्विचिंग टाइम, स्टेटमेंट लिखो. द कॉन्टेक्स्ट स्विचिंग टाइम बिटवीन द थ्रेड्स, द कॉन्टेक्स्ट स्विचिंग टाइम बिटवीन द थ्रेड्स विल बी, context switching time between the threads will be very less. Context switching time between the threads will be very less compared to the context switching time between the processes. Compared to the context switching time between the processes, because threads will have less context. Threads will have less context compared to the processes. Threads will have less context compared to the process. Is that clear? Right. So that is a faster context switches. Okay, no doubt. The next one is, okay, no doubt, effective utilization of multi-processor systems. Multi-processor systems. No doubt, effective utilization of multi-processor systems. Effective utilization of multi-processor system. Copy this. Okay. So effective utilization of a multi-processor system. What is the meaning of multiprocessor? Okay, you know what is the meaning of multiprocessor already. Multiprocessor means what? More than one processor. Okay, right? Simple si baat hai, right? So multiprocessor means more than one processor. So remember, if the process is divided into multiple threads, listen carefully. If the process is divided into multiple threads, then what happens is different thread can be scheduled onto different processor. Different thread can be scheduled onto different processor, so that process execution will be what? Faster. Is that clear? Means just like, okay, effective way of utilizing multiprocessor, and at the same time you can increase the speed of the process execution also. Right? I am repeating. Repeat kar raha hu fir se. Okay, if the process is divided into multiple threads, then different thread can be scheduled onto what? Different processor, so that process execution will be what? Faster. Is that clear? So it means effective way of utilizing multiprocessor systems. Is that clear? So note down the statement. Note down. If the process is divided into multiple threads, then then different threads can be scheduled onto different processor. Different threads can be scheduled onto different processor, so that process execution will be faster. Okay, right. So that is the effective utilization of multi-processor system. Okay, and the next advantage we have is okay, note down, the next advantage is okay, this is the fourth one, right? Okay, so that is resource sharing. So next advantage is resource sharing. Okay, so copy this carefully. Please copy this. Okay, so let's say this is a single threaded process. Okay, I will give the time. Okay, don't worry. Okay, so please make a proper copy of this. So this is the multi-threaded process. Let's say you are having thread 1, thread 2, thread 3. Okay, I'll explain all that. Copy करो अच्छे से, पास करो, वीडियो पास करके कॉपी कर लो पूरा. मैं साइड हो जा रहा हूँ. Okay, now understand here. So this is a single threaded process and this is a multi-threaded process. See, single threaded process means what? What is the meaning of this? It is just like a normal process only. Okay, so but this is a multi-threaded process. It means what? You are having multiple threads. This is a multi-threaded process. You are having multiple threads. Look at this. So this is a thread 1 here, and this is a thread 2 here, and this is a thread 3 here. So, you are having multiple threads in a process here. So, just by looking at this, you can understand what I am trying to say. Okay, इसको देखते ही आप okay guess कर सकते हो मैं क्या बताना चाह रहा हूँ. Look at here. So, what is this heading here? Resource sharing. Resource sharing. It means what? Whatever the resources the process is having. Whatever the resources the process is having, like the resources like code, whatever the code the process is having, okay, whatever the data in the sense what, global variables, and next files, okay, will be shared among all the threads within the process. Like look at here, so that is shared by okay all the threads within the process. So thread 1 भी share करेगा, thread 2 भी share करेगा, thread 3 भी share करेगा, right? But remember the stacks and registers cannot be shared. Is that clear? I am repeating. Look at here. So whatever the okay resources the process having, like code, data in the sense global variables, files, okay, and also look at here heap. okay, heap and also memory. So heap means what? In the dynamic memory allocations, you will use the heap segment of the memory. Okay, heap means, I think all of you studied, you will have a main memory divided into multiple segments. Okay, so there's a heap segment, data segment, okay, stack segment, code segment. याद है थोड़ा थोड़ा, right? आप लोग अगर पढ़े डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स और सी लैंग्वेज इन डिटेल में पढ़े तो वो सब समझ में आएगा. सो अपन डिस्कस करेंगे. हीप इज यूज्ड फॉर डायनामिक मेमोरी एलोकेशन. सो आई विल क्लियरली एक्सप्लेन लाइक व्हाट इज द डायनामिक मेमोरी एलोकेशन, हाउ इट विल टेक प्लेस, व्हाट इज द मेलॉक फंक्शन. ओके, मेलॉक फंक्शन इंप्लीमेंटेशन पूरा डिटेल, ओके, एंड टू एंड पूरा बताऊंगा. अंदर से क्या होता है, ओके, इन द मेलॉक फंक्शन में क्या होता है, व्हाट एक्चुअली हैपेंस. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट ऑल दैट. ओके, वो सब छोड़ दो. सो फर्स्ट कम बैक टू दिस. ओके, राइट, लिसन हियर. So, okay, I'm repeating, first understand only this point. So, whatever the resources the process is having, like code, data in the sense what I said, global variables. Okay, look at here. So, global variables, okay, and files, and also heap, and also memory. Is that clear? So, all that will be shared among all the threads within the process. But remember, the stacks and registers cannot be shared. So, why stacks and registers cannot be shared and every thread will have its own stacks and registers? Because why stacks and registers cannot be shared? Remember, thread is also just like a process only. And in order to execute, okay, thread is also just like a process only, and the thread will have its own instructions to execute. Every thread will have its own instructions to execute. Remember, in order to execute its own instructions, they require stacks and registers. So, why stacks and registers are okay required to execute the instructions that you will study in the CO, computer organization. Is that clear? Like you will have an instruction execution cycle, okay, fetch karna, decode karna, execute karna. Is that clear? So, for that purpose, you require the stacks and registers. Is that clear? You will study all that in detail in the computer organization. So, don't worry about all that. Okay. So, I am repeating again, once again. Whatever the resources the process is having, like a resource like a code, data, in the sense global variables, files, a heap and memory will be shared among all the threads within the process, but stacks and registers cannot be shared, and every thread will have its own stacks and registers. So, why stacks and registers cannot be shared? Because thread is also just like a process, and thread will have its own instructions to execute, and in order to execute its own instructions, they require their own stacks and registers. So, that is the purpose of okay, maintaining separate stacks and registers for every thread. Is that clear? No doubt. Make a note of this. Okay, अच्छे से लिखो पूरा. Whatever the resources the process is having, whatever the resources the process is having, like code, data means braces में लिखो global variables, data, okay, code comma data means global variables, braces में लिखो global variables, comma files, okay, files, comma heap यहाँ पर लिखा है comma heap, and memory will be shared among all the threads within the process. But stacks and registers cannot be shared. Stacks and registers cannot be shared, and every thread will have its own stacks and registers. Every thread will have its own stacks and registers. Every thread will have its own stacks and registers. Is that clear? Right. So, that is the meaning of resource sharing. Okay, right. Next. Okay. Okay, next advantage, next advantage is, no doubt, next advantage is enhanced throughput of the system, no doubt, enhanced throughput of the system, enhanced throughput of the system. So what is the meaning of this? Okay, no doubt, keep the heading, enhanced throughput of the system. Okay, so you know what is the meaning of throughput? Okay, so आपको पता है throughput का मतलब definition already बताया, throughput का definition क्या बताया? Okay, number of jobs completed for unit time. Okay, याद है सबको? हाँ, कुछ लोग तो भूल गया. हाँ, याद है, right? So understand here. So throughput means what? Number of jobs completed for unit time. So that is called as a throughput of the system. Now understand here. So enhanced throughput of the system means, now remember, if the process is divided into multiple threads, if the process is divided into multiple threads, then okay, obviously, okay, if the process is divided into multiple threads, and if you consider one thread as one job, if you consider one thread as one job, then if you consider one thread as one job, then number of jobs completed for unit time will increase. Number of jobs completed for unit time will increase. Okay, it means throughput of the system will be enhanced. Throughput of the system will be enhanced. Is it clear for everyone? Right? So मैं repeat कर रहा हूँ फिर से. Okay? Remember, if you consider one thread as one job, अगर आप एक thread को एक job जैसा मानते हो, is that clear? So then obviously क्या होगा? Number of jobs completed for unit time will increase. Is that clear? So throughput of the system will be enhanced. Is that clear? समझ में आया? Repeat कर रहा हूँ फिर से. Enhanced throughput of the system. What is the meaning of this? If the process is divided into multiple threads, अगर process को multiple threads से revise करते हैं, and if you consider one thread as one job, then obviously the number of jobs completed for unit time will increase. Is that clear? And it means throughput of the system will be enhanced. Is that clear? Enhance हो जाएगा. Is that clear? So no doubt, note down the statement. लिखो अच्छे से. If the process is divided into multiple threads, if the process is divided into multiple threads, then if we consider one thread as one job, if we consider one thread as one job, then number of jobs completed for unit time will increase. Number of jobs completed for unit time will increase, and throughput of the system will be enhanced. बहुत slow हो रहे ना, right? And throughput of the system will be enhanced. बहुत slow बता रहा हूँ, right? थोड़ा speed increase करें, right? So that is the okay. Next point, next advantage. No doubt. Next advantage is economical. Next advantage is economical. No doubt. Economical means what? Cost will be less. Understand carefully. So economical means cost will be less. Okay, इसका मतलब क्या है? Implementation of the threads. If you want to implement the threads, implementation of the threads does not require any cost. Implementation of the threads does not require any cost, and there are various programming language APIs. Understand carefully. There are various programming language APIs. API means what? Okay, tell me. Application Programming Interface. Application Programming Interface. It means that will contain various set of methods, classes, interfaces, something like that. Okay, so there are various programming language APIs which support implementation of the threads. So example is what? Java supports implementation of the threads. Okay, let's say you can take Java. Is that clear? So it means what? If you know Java, you can simply understand that okay, classes, methods, whatever is okay, it is having related to threads, and you can write your own thread programming. You can write your own thread programming using Java. Okay, so I think many of you written okay thread programming in Java. कितने लोग लिखे थे thread programming किए थे? बहुत लोग, right? Java में किए थे, right? So same thing. Okay, it means what? If you want to implement the threads, it does not require any cost. Simply install Java and understand the thread API, whatever it is in the Java, and you can write your own thread programming. Is that clear? So implementation of the threads does not require any cost. there are various programming language APIs which support implementation of the threads. Okay, note down the statement, note down. Implementation of the threads does not require any cost. Does not require any cost, and there are various programming language APIs, API application programming interface APIs, यहाँ पे लिखा है कैपिटल में लिखो, various programming language APIs, API, okay, capitals में लिखो. The various programming language APIs which support implementation of the threads. The various programming language APIs which support implementation of the threads. Okay, so understand here, there are various programming language APIs which support implementation of the threads. Example note down. Example is a Java API. Okay, so copy that. Example is a Java API. Is that clear for everyone? So that is the enhanced throughput of the system. Okay. Oh, sorry, economical. So that is a economical. That is advantage. Next. Now understand here. So these are the various advantages. Okay, whatever is studied. So these are the various advantages why we are going for the threads. Is that clear for everyone? So these are all the advantages, various advantages we are having. So why we are implementing threads or why we are going for threads. Now remember, if you observe the threads in the deeper manner, the threads are again further categorized into two types. Okay, one is user level threads and the next is पता है तुमको kernel level threads. Is that clear? So note down the statement. Next, थोड़ा आज का क्लास थोड़ा थ्योरी रहता है, theoretical type क्लास है. Okay, so just bear with me. Concentration से सुनो अच्छे से. Note down. Threads are categorized into two types. Okay, you can copy like this. इधर सुनो ऐसा लिखो. Okay, difference जैसा लिखो. Categorized into two types. User level threads and next is kernel level threads. Okay, so first one user level threads and next is kernel level threads. Okay, understand here. So threads are categorized into two types. One is a user level threads and next is a kernel level threads. So in the user level threads, okay, understand, note down one by one. एक point लिखो अच्छे से. ऐसे लिखो user level threads, kernel level threads. एक point लिखो अच्छे से. So user level threads है first point. Now remember, user level threads are implemented by whom? Who will implement that? User level threads are implemented by the user. Okay, user in the sense what? Programmer. Is that clear? So whatever the thread programming you guys done, okay, Java में आप लोग जो thread programming किया था, so all that is called as what? Okay, user level threads only. Is that clear? Java में तो thread program किया था, बहुत लोग किया था ना, right? So all that is called as what? User level threads only. Is that clear? Note down. First point, user level threads are implemented by user or programmer. Implemented by user or programmer. Okay, right. Next, now understand second point. Listen carefully. Whatever the user level threads you are implementing, whatever the user level threads you are writing, okay, remember that is not recognized by the operating system. It means what? Operating system does not recognize user level threads. यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स को ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम को पता ही नहीं होता है. ओके, रिकॉग्नाइज ही नहीं करेगा. ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम व्यूज, ओके, व्यू मतलब क्या है? कैसे देखना. ओके, दिस वन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट व्यूज. सो दिस व्यूज, ओके, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम व्यूज द यूजर लेवल थ्रेड एज व्हाट? प्रोसेस ओनली. नॉर्मल प्रोसेस जैसा है उसको देखता है. Is that clear? Right? So I'm repeating, operating system cannot recognize user level threads. Operating system views user level thread as a process only. नॉर्मल प्रोसेस जैसा ही दिखता है. ओके, प्रोसेस जैसा ही दिखता है. समझ में आया सबको, राइट? सो नो डाउन. सेकंड पॉइंट लिखो यहाँ पे. सेकंड पॉइंट है ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम cannot recognize the user level threads. Operating system cannot recognize the user level threads, and operating system views यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ. Operating system views user level thread as a process only. Operation views user level thread as a process only. ओके, सो इसका मतलब क्या है? सो ऑपरेशन व्यूज यूजर लेवल थ्रेड एज अ प्रोसेस ओनली. नॉर्मल प्रोसेस जैसा ही देखता है. नॉर्मल प्रोसेस को कैसे देखते हैं? ओके, वो ऐसे ही देखेगा. समझ में आया सबको, राइट? सो नाउ अंडरस्टैंड द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. ओके, थर्ड पॉइंट हियर. ओके, लिसन केयरफुली. सो थर्ड पॉइंट, इफ यू ऑब्जर्व दिस, ओके, थर्ड पॉइंट. So, okay, second part समझ में आना. Operating system cannot recognize user level threads. It views user level thread as a process only. Normal process जैसा ही देखता है. Okay, so that is the reason. Third point, if one user level thread is performing IO operation, पहले सुनो अच्छे से. If one user level thread is performing IO operation, then the entire process will go into block state. The entire process will go into what? Block state. इसका मतलब क्या है? ओके, अगर एक यूजर लेवल थ्रेड को आईओ ऑपरेशन चाहिए, तो किधर जाएगा बताओ? जनरली रनिंग स्टेट में से, बताओ, आईओ ऑपरेशन चाहिए रनिंग स्टेट में से किधर जाएगा? वेट स्टेट में जाएगा. ओके, यहाँ पे यूजर थ्रेड्स में क्या होता है? अगर एक थ्रेड को अगर आईओ चाहिए तो भी एंटायर प्रोसेस विल गो इनटू व्हाट? ओके, वेट स्टेट. So if one user level thread requires IO operation, then the entire process will go into what? Block state or wait state. Is that clear? So दोनों मतलब सेम ही है, right? So मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूं फिर से. If one user level thread is performing blocking system call, टेक्निकल टर्म है. ओके, if one user level thread is performing blocking system call, इसका मतलब क्या है? IO operation. Is that clear? So then the entire process will go into what? Block state. Entire process will go into block state. So अगर एक थ्रेड को IO चाहिए तो पूरा प्रोसेस ही ओके वेट स्टेट में जाएगा. Is that clear for everyone? Right? So note down third point here. Third point, if one user level thread is performing blocking system call, if one user level thread is performing blocking system call, then the entire process will go into block state. Entire process will go into block state. Entire process will go into block state. Is that clear? Right. Okay. So understand here. Next, now come to the some points in the kernel level threads. Just listen here. Now coming to the kernel level threads. बताओ, आप लोग सोच के बताओ. Kernel level threads are implemented by whom? Who will implement kernel level threads? Operating system. Obviously, operation will implement the kernel level threads. Okay. Note down first point. Okay. Kernel level threads are implemented by operating system. Kernel level threads are implemented by operating system. Okay. So kernel level threads are implemented by the operating system. Okay. पूरा लिखो क्या? Not required, right? Implemented by operating system. Okay, right. Now when you say kernel level threads are implemented by operating system, obviously second point. Now tell me second point. Okay, whether the kernel level threads are recognized by operating system or not recognized by operating system. Tell me, recognized or not recognized? Obviously recognized. So they are implemented by operating system. Obviously they are recognized by operating system. Is that clear? Right? So note down second point. Okay, kernel level threads are recognized by operating system. Kernel level threads are recognized by operating system. Okay. Now next, now understand here third point here. When you say kernel level threads are recognized by operating system, so that is the reason the third point here. Third point here. The answers are just say, okay, there are so many gate questions based on this. Okay, abhi karna hai aapko. Is that clear? So listen here. So third point here. Okay, third point is, okay, listen here. In the kernel level threads, if one kernel level thread is performing IO operation, then another thread will continue the execution. Understand carefully, it is completely different point here. यहाँ पे क्या बताओ? Okay, if one kernel level thread is performing IO operation, then another thread will continue the execution. So why? Because they are recognized as a different thread. Okay, मतलब T1, T2, T3 ऐसा recognize हो रहा है, अलग-अलग thread जैसा recognize हो रहा है. तो इसलिए what happens? If one kernel level thread is performing IO operation, then another thread will continue the execution in the running state. So one is doing IO operation in the wait state, and one is doing okay execution in the running state. So that is the case in the kernel level threads. But remember, what about user level threads here? What I said here, if one user level thread requires IO operation, then the entire process will go into what? Block state or wait state. But remember, that is not the case in the kernel level threads. So in the kernel level threads, if one kernel level thread requires IO operation, matlab blocking system call, then another kernel level thread will continue the execution. Another thread will continue the execution. So that's completely a different point in the kernel level threads. Is that clear? Note down this point here. Third point likho yahan pe. If one kernel level thread is performing blocking system call, if one kernel level thread is performing blocking system call, then another thread will continue the execution. Another thread will continue the execution. So if one kernel thread is performing a blocking system call, another thread will continue the execution. Okay, right. So next, okay, note down the next point here. Now, okay, kernel में next point लिखो, kernel में next point है. Now थोड़ा बताओ, आप लोग बताओ, सोच के बताओ. Okay, you can think of it. If one is doing IO operation, another is doing the execution. एक IO operation कर रहा है, दूसरा execute कर रहा है. So it means what? It means kernel level threads are designed as independent threads. इसका मतलब एक thread IO कर रहा है, एक thread execute हो रहा है. So no problem, right? So they are designed as independent threads. Okay, note down. So next here, यहाँ पे लिखो, kernel level threads are designed as independent threads. Kernel level threads are designed as independent threads. And coming to the user level threads, user level threads are designed as what? Dependent threads. Okay, dependent threads. So listen carefully. So kernel level threads are designed as independent threads, and user level threads are designed as what? Dependent threads. Okay, and next, the next point. Now remember, when you say kernel level threads are independent threads, मतलब अलग-अलग divide कर रहा है. See, okay, एक thread को बीच में dependency नहीं है. So it means implementation of the kernel level threads. Kernel threads को okay implement करना, okay बनाना. So it is more complicated, more difficult. Okay, no doubt. Kernel level threads में लिखो, यहाँ पे लिखो, kernel में लिखो, implementation of kernel level threads. Implementation of kernel level threads is complicated. Implementation of the kernel level threads is complicated. Okay, so implementation of kernel threads is complicated. But coming to the user level threads, so implementation of the user level threads is what? Okay, easy or simple. Note down. Implementation of user level threads is easy or simple. Okay, implementation of user level threads is easy or simple. And next, now tell me the next point. Okay, kernel में बताओ, थोड़ा सोच के बताओ. I am asking the question to you. Kernel level threads are independent threads. Kernel level threads are independent threads, and user level threads are what? Dependent threads. So in that case, now observe the context. कॉन्टेक्स्ट मतलब क्या होता है बताओ, कॉन्टेक्स्ट मतलब एट्रीब्यूट्स, ओके एट्रीब्यूट्स. सो इफ यू ऑब्जर्व द एट्रीब्यूट्स ऑफ कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स एंड यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स, नाउ टेल मी, सोच के बताओ अच्छे से. व्हेन यू ऑब्जर्व द कॉन्टेक्स्ट और एट्रीब्यूट्स, ओके एट्रीब्यूट्स ऑफ कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स, ओके एंड यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स, किसका कॉन्टेक्स्ट ज्यादा रहेगा, दैट इज द क्वेश्चन आई एम आस्किंग. बताओ, कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स आर इंडिपेंडेंट थ्रेड्स है, ये इंडिपेंडेंट है और ये डिपेंडेंट थ्रेड्स है. ओके दोनों का एट्रीब्यूट्स अगर आप ऑब्जर्व करेंगे, दोनों का कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑब्जर्व करेंगे, सो विच विल हैव मोर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, किसके लिए ज्यादा कॉन्टेक्स्ट रहेगा, बताओ, सोच के बताओ. ओके कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स विल हैव अ मोर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, इज दैट क्लियर? सी बिकॉज रिमेंबर व्हेन दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट, ओके इंडिपेंडेंट अलग अलग है, सो हर थ्रेड के लिए ओके इन्फॉर्मेशन मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा ना, अलग अलग इन्फॉर्मेशन मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा. सो दे आर डिपेंडेंट है, तो मे बी सम एट्रीब्यूट्स मे बी कॉमन, सो दे विल हैव व्हाट, लेस कॉन्टेक्स्ट एंड दे विल हैव व्हाट, मोर कॉन्टेक्स्ट. इज दैट क्लियर? नो डाउट कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स विल हैव अ मोर कॉन्टेक्स्ट. लिखो यहां पे, कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स विल हैव अ more context. And coming to the user level threads will have a less context. User level threads will have a less context. So kernel level threads have more context, but user level threads will have what, less context. Okay, and the next, now coming to the 7th point here. Okay, कर्नल में 7 पॉइंट लिखो, कर्नल में 7 पॉइंट लिखो, पहले लिखो इसको, कर्नल में 7 पॉइंट लिखो. शेड्यूलिंग ऑफ कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स, शेड्यूलिंग ऑफ कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स रिक्वायर्स हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट. शेड्यूलिंग ऑफ कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स रिक्वायर्स हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट. शेड्यूलिंग ऑफ कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स रिक्वायर्स हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट. यहां पे लिखो, यूजर में लिखो नो हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट, नो हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स. नो हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स. No hardware support required for the user level threads. Okay, right. So understand carefully. So these are the major differences. So don't worry like why this requires hardware support and why this does not require hardware support. So that is all not required. Why? Because the thread scheduling is completely different. Okay, use completely different type of scheduling. Okay, in the threads, especially in the kernel level threads. ओके सो यहाँ पे मैं बता रहा हूँ फिर से, शेड्यूलिंग ऑफ कर्नल लेवल थ्रेड्स रिक्वायर्स व्हाट, हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट, बट नो हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स. Okay, so okay, don't worry why the hardware support required and all that, because that is a thread scheduling is completely different. Okay, and okay, close करो इसको, close करो यहाँ पे, just close that and continuation ना, keep it as a note. एक statement लिखो, keep it as a note. Keep it as note. Okay. Gang scheduling, यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ, gang scheduling used in the threads. Gang scheduling used in the threads. Gang scheduling used in the threads. Okay, so in the threads we are going to use what? Gang scheduling. Okay, so what is the meaning of gang scheduling? Okay, not required. Actually, I told you this point when I discussed the CPU scheduling already. Okay, workbook discuss किया था. Okay, workbook discuss किया था. Okay, वो time पे तो मैं discuss किया था इसको, right? So gang scheduling used in the threads. Okay, so don't worry what is gang scheduling and all that, not required. बस याद रखो इसको, उतना काफी है, right? So these are the various differences between user level threads and also what, kernel level threads. Is that clear for everyone? Right. So let's take up some questions. Okay, gate questions. Okay, so that you will have a clarity. Okay, go to your workbook. Where is my workbook? Okay, go to your workbook. Workbook निकालो. We'll solve some gate questions on the threads. Okay, sorry. Right. So go to your workbook. So I'll tell you page number. Go to page number 79. 79, question number 14. So I'm writing here page number 79, क्वेश्चन नंबर 14. बताओ, पढ़ो अच्छे से, पढ़ के सॉल्व करो. पेज नंबर 79 ना, क्वेश्चन नंबर 14. आई विल वेट 5 seconds इन द लाइव. पास कर लो आप, वीडियो पास करो, वीडियो पास करके सॉल्व करो क्वेश्चन. पेज नंबर 79, क्वेश्चन नंबर 14. Right. So I think all of you solved. So what's the right answer? Okay, D is the right answer. Okay, understand here. So D is the right answer. Okay. So I think all of you solved this, right? Okay, if anybody is having doubt, is asking false. False with respect to what? User level and kernel level threads. So statement ye pado. Okay, context switching time is longer for kernel level threads. Okay, than the user level threads. Yes or no? Yes, because kernel level threads are having what? More context. So इनके पास ज़्यादा कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, तो कॉन्टेक्स्ट स्विचिंग के लिए क्या होगा, ज़्यादा टाइम लगेगा. सो ओके, दे आर लॉन्गर. ओके, सो दैट इज फाइन, दैट इज अ ट्रू स्टेटमेंट. ऑप्शन बी पे जाओ. यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स डू नॉट नीड एनी हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट. यस सर. ओके, यूजर लेवल थ्रेड्स के लिए नो हार्डवेयर सपोर्ट रिक्वायर्ड, सो दैट इज रिटन देयर. एंड नेक्स्ट ऑप्शन सी, kernel level threads can be scheduled on different processor in a multi-processor system. Yes or no? Yes, sir. Because the kernel level threads can be scheduled differently on different processor. Okay, on different processor system. Okay, in the multi-processor. Why? Because kernel level threads are what? Independent threads. Is that clear? So that is a true statement. And next, okay, option D में जाओ. Blocking one kernel level thread blocks all the related threads. Now tell me, so kernel level में एक thread block हो गई तो पूरा threads block होगा या दूसरा thread continue करेगा? दूसरा thread continue करेगा. So that is a false statement. Okay, so question में false पूछ रहे हैं. So right answer is what? D. So D is the right answer. Okay. Okay. So next, let's discuss the next question. Go to page number 80. Question number 18 now. Page number 80, question number 18. Read this question and try to solve. Page number 80, question number 18. पास करो, वीडियो पास करो. Right. So understand here. So I will explain. Okay, I am assuming all of you studied the question. So which of the following is private or specific to the thread? So right answer is what? Okay, right answer is A. A is the right answer for this. Okay. So understand here. So A is the right answer. Why? Because now look at here. Which of the following is the private or specific to the thread? So that is the question is asking. Now if you observe the program counter चाहिए नहीं चाहिए? Obviously चाहिए. So program counter is required, just like a process only. So obviously program counter is required. So program counter is obviously specific to the thread. So obviously that is required. So next, coming to the stacks. Okay, execution stack is required or not? Yes, sir. अभी तो बताया, stacks and registers cannot be shared. Every thread will have its own stack. Okay, मतलब execution stack. Okay, so definitely stack is required. Remember, if the stack is required, then obviously what is required? Stack pointer is required. Why? Because your stack will be accessed with the help of what? Top. Okay, we'll use a variable called top. Okay, to access the stack. Okay, because okay, push operation and pop operation both will happen from the top and with the help of what? Okay, top only. Okay, we'll use some variable. Okay, pointer called top. Is that clear? So I think all of you studied the stack. Then it's a simple point you can understand here. So अगर stack है तो obviously stack pointer चाहिए, क्योंकि stack pointer use करते ही आप push operation pop operation करेंगे stack के अंदर. Okay, so obviously, so execution stack is required means obviously stack pointer is required. So these are all what are specific or private to the thread. But coming to the memory, but memory can be what? Shared. अभी तो लिखे थे, notes में लिखे थे. Okay, right? So पता नहीं क्या सोच रहे हैं कुछ लोग. So memory is not specific, it can be shared. So right answer is what? A. A is the right answer. Next, सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 20 करो, पेज नंबर सेम पेज है, पेज नंबर 80, क्वेश्चन नंबर 20 पढ़ो। अभी अभी लिखे थे अपन, जो लोग कुछ लोग ऑलरेडी किए थे, कुछ लोग नहीं किए थे। हाँ, पेज नंबर 80, क्वेश्चन नंबर 20। अभी अभी बताया, सोच के करो अच्छे से। अगर आप अभी भी सॉल्व कर रहे हैं तो पास करना चाहिए, वीडियो पास करना चाहिए, राइट। सो आई एम रिवीलिंग द आंसर। सो राइट आंसर इज द डी, राइट। सो थ्रेड्स ऑफ ए प्रोसेस शेयर, ओके, हीप एंड ग्लोबल वेरिएबल्स, ओके। अभी अभी तो लिखा था, राइट, बोर्ड के ऊपर लिखे थे, नोट्स में भी लिखे थे अपन, राइट। सो राइट आंसर इज द डी, डी इज द राइट आंसर। नेक्स्ट, go to page number 79, okay, so page number 79, question number 16 पढ़ो एक बार। पेज नंबर यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ, पेज नंबर 79, क्वेश्चन नंबर 16, क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 क्या पूछ रहे हैं, पढ़ो अच्छे से, क्या बोल रहे हैं, एक बार पढ़ो, क्वेश्चन तो पढ़ो। पेज नंबर 79, क्वेश्चन नंबर 16। क्या दिया, सिंक्रोनस एंड असिंक्रोनस आईओ बोल रहे हैं। सो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस सिंक्रोनस एंड असिंक्रोनस आईओ, लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड। सो पहले उसका कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ेंगे, उसके बाद ओके यू कैन सॉल्व द क्वेश्चन, राइट। इट्स ओके, मैं क्वेश्चन पढ़ने के लिए बोलने के लिए बोला था, राइट। सो एनीवे विल डिस्कस व्हाट इज दैट सिंक्रोनस एंड असिंक्रोनस आईओ, ओके। सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ओके, आईओ ऑपरेशन इज कैटेगराइज्ड इनटू टू टाइप्स, ओके, नो डाउट। कीप द हेडिंग, कंटिन्यूएशन में लिखो, वर्कबुक क्लोज करो, वर्कबुक क्लोज करो थोड़ी देर के लिए, राइट, नो डाउट, ओके। आई कीप द हेडिंग आईओ ऑपरेशन, कीप द हेडिंग आईओ ऑपरेशन, right. Now remember, okay, IO of the processes is categorized into two types. One is the synchronous IO and next is the asynchronous IO. Like IO operation कहाँ पे होता है generally, okay, will perform in the wait state, okay, अगर कोई running process को अगर IO चाहिए तो it will come to what, a wait state. So जो भी अपन IO पढ़े, okay, generally, okay, that will have a two different types. So synchronous IO and asynchronous IO, okay, no doubt, okay, no doubt, note down statement. IO of the processes, IO of the processes is categorized into two types. One is a synchronous IO, next is asynchronous IO. No doubt, IO of the process is categorized into two types, synchronous IO and next is asynchronous IO. Okay. So understand here, okay, synchronous and asynchronous IO. So what is the meaning of synchronous and asynchronous IO? First, keep the heading synchronous IO. Keep the heading synchronous IO. Keep the heading synchronous IO. Note down. Note on the first point. In synchronous IO, the process performing IO operation. In synchronous IO, the process performing IO operation will be placed, P-L-A-C-E-D, placed, will be placed in the block state. Process performing IO operation will be placed in the block state, B-L-O-C-K, block state मतलब wait state, will be placed in the block state till the IO operation is, till the IO operation is completed. Will be placed in the block state, okay, repeat कर रहा हूँ, the process performing IO operation will be placed in the block state till the IO operation is completed, full stop. No doubt. Next point लिखो, once IO operation is completed, next point, once IO operation is completed, once IO operation is completed, an interrupt service routine, okay, यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ, okay, an interrupt service routine, you call it as the ISR, okay, an interrupt service routine, okay, interrupt service routine, okay, braces में लिखो ISR. Once IO operation is completed, an interrupt service routine ISR will be initiated. Interrupt service routine an ISR, okay, will be initiated, which brings the process. Interrupt service routine ISR will be initiated, which brings the process from block state to, which brings the process from block state to, बताओ क्या हो सकता है, block state to, guess करो, block state to ready state, block state to ready state, okay, right. So understand here, so that is about synchronous IO, okay, simple. Let's say here, okay, you are having the ready state here, okay, let's say you are having, okay, running state, and next let's say you are having wait or block state, okay, you are having the process state diagram like this, okay, right. Now remember, okay, first point kya likhe, in synchronous IO the process performing IO operation will be placed in the block state, till IO operation is completed, okay. So it is just like normal IO, whatever the IO we studied in the class, the same IO only, that is the synchronous IO. Is that clear? So process performing IO operation will be placed in the block state till the IO operation is completed. And next, once IO operation is completed here, जब यहाँ पे process IO complete करता है तो क्या होगा, then an interrupt service routine ISR will be initiated. An interrupt service routine ISR will be initiated, which brings the process from block state to ready state. Is that clear? So यहाँ पे एक बार IO ऑपरेशन कंप्लीट हो गया तो प्रोसेस को इधर से इधर लाने वाला कौन है, ISR. So ये ISR क्या होता है, okay, that is just like a event handler, okay. ISR के बारे में पूरा आप अच्छे से CO में पढ़ते, कंप्यूटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में पढ़ते. So interrupt, okay, execution cycle, okay, interrupt service cycle, okay, पूरा, okay, you study instruction execution cycle, you study all that, interrupt service mechanism and all that you study in the CO, computer organization. So don't worry about all that, just याद रखो. So once IO operation is completed, an interrupt service routine ISR will be initiated, which brings the process from block state to ready state. So एक बार यहाँ पे IO operation complete हो गया तो process को इधर से इधर लाने वाला कौन है, ISR है. Is that clear? So remember, that is the synchronous IO. So synchronous IO is not anything special here, okay, you already know this, and whatever we studied in the class, that is the same IO, okay. So synchronous IO is the same IO whatever we studied, okay. Copy करो इसको, continuation में copy करो इसको, ये वाला copy करो, synchronous IO में ISR use होगा. Copy किए, right. So pass karo, if you are not copied, okay, you can pass, right. So now understand here, so that is about synchronous IO. So synchronous IO is a normal IO, whatever we studied in the class, that is synchronous IO only. But remember, asynchronous IO is completely different. So what is the meaning of asynchronous IO? No doubt. Keep the heading asynchronous IO. Keep the heading asynchronous IO. No doubt. In asynchronous IO, while initiating IO request, the handler function will be registered. Handler function यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ अच्छे से, okay, यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ. If you have any doubt, you can just okay, look at the board, okay, board पे देख सकते हैं. While initiating IO request, handler function will be registered. No doubt. When initiating IO request, the handler function will be registered. Okay. Full stop. No doubt. Second point. Ligo. Second point. The process is not placed in the block state. Process is not placed in the block state. And it continues to execute. The remaining code. After initiating after initiating the IO request. It continues to execute the remaining code after initiating the IO request. Continues to execute the remaining code after initiating the IO request. Full stop. Note down next point. Third point likho. Third point. Once IO operation is completed. Third point. Once IO operation is completed. Once IO operation is completed, the signal mechanism is used. Signal, S-I-G-N-A-L, okay. Signal mechanism is used. The signal mechanism is used to notify the process. Notify करना मतलब inform करना. To notify the process that the data is available. To notify the process that the data is available and the registered handler function यहाँ पे लिखे थे already. The registered handler function will be asynchronously invoked. Registered handler function will be asynchronously invoked. Okay, full stop. Right, so I'll explain all this. Don't worry about all this. Okay, in asynchronous IO. Okay, listen here. So let's say you are having the ready state here, and okay, let's say running state here, and let's say this is a wait or a block state. Okay, so understand carefully all the points here. First, okay, first point क्या लिखे? Now the answer is say asynchronous IO is a complete the special type of IO. Okay, completely different IO, special type of IO. So in asynchronous IO, what the first point you have written? First point, in asynchronous IO, while initiating the IO request, the handler function will be registered. So what is the handler function? Remember, in the handler function, the process will specify what type of IO operation it is trying to perform. What type of IO operation is trying to perform? Like for example क्या होता है? Let's say, okay, your process is trying to read the file from hard disk. कोई hard disk में से एक बड़ा file को read करना चाह रहा है. So it will specify what is the name of the file, what is the path of the file. Okay, so it will specify all the details related to IO operation. Handler function में क्या होता है? All the details related to IO operation will be specified in the handler function. Is that clear? So first point को ही बता रहा हूँ फिर से. First point, okay, in asynchronous IO, while initiating IO request, the handler function will be registered. So जब उसको IO चाहिए, process को जब IO चाहिए, तो क्या करेगा? Handler function को register करेगा. Handler function में क्या करेगा? क्या बताएगा? All the details related to IO operation. मतलब कौन सा IO करना चाह रहा है, क्या करना चाह रहा है, कोई फाइल को रीड करना चाह रहा है, कौन सा फाइल को रीड करना चाह रहा है, what is the name of the file, path of the file. Specify all the details in the handler function. Is the point clear? Right. Now second point is important. What's the second point? The process is not placed in the block state. Process is not placed in the block state. Process block state में नहीं आएगा. Process is not placed in the block state and it continues to execute the remaining code after initiating the IO request. Okay, so it continues to execute what? Remaining code after initiating IO request. इसका मतलब process, okay, where block state में नहीं आएगा, it continues to execute the remaining code after initiating IO request. So now you will have a doubt. So how it will continue remaining code without completing the execution IO operation? Without completing IO operation, वो remaining code कैसे करेगा? Remember, asynchronous IO is the complete special type of IO. Asynchronous IO is completely the special type of IO. Remember, if the process is having around 1 lakh instructions, let's say process is having around 1 lakh instructions, remember all the instructions may not be depending on IO operation. Let's say 1 lakh instructions are there, all the instructions may not be depending on IO operation. सारे instructions चलाने के लिए IO थोड़ी ना चाहिए, right? So there may be some instructions which does not require any IO operation. Is that clear? So the instructions which are not depending on IO operation. Instructions which are not depending on IO operation. So it will try to execute those type of instructions. Is that clear? So I am repeating. Second point फिर से बता रहा हूँ. The process is not placed in the block state. Process is not placed in the block state में नहीं आएगा and it continues to execute okay remaining code okay after initiating the IO request. So process will not become to block state, it continues to execute remaining code. So how it will continue remaining code, okay, the instructions which are not depending on IO operation, those instructions it will continue to execute. Is that clear? So that is about the second point. Now third point क्या लिखे? Third point, once IO operation is completed. Once IO operation is completed. See what is the IO example? Okay, let's say it is trying to read some very big file from secondary memory to main memory. So that is IO operation. Like for example, 2 GB का फाइल है, जैसे 10 GB का फाइल है, जैसे बहुत बड़ा प्रोसेस है, 10 GB का फाइल को रीड कर रहा है. तो 10 GB फाइल मतलब क्या है? आप सेकेंडरी मेमोरी से मेन मेमोरी से में ला रहा है. So that is all IO operation only, right? That's all IO operation only. You are bringing the file 10 GB file from secondary memory to main memory. So that is a IO operation only. So it will take lot of time to read the file from secondary memory to main memory, to load the file from secondary to main memory. So once this IO operation is completed, once IO operation is completed, it means what? That loading of the file is completed. So once IO operation is completed, क्या लिखे पढ़ो अच्छे से? Once IO operation is completed, the signal mechanism is used to notify the process. Once IO operation completed, मतलब जो फाइल वो मांगा था, जो फाइल उसको चाहिए था, ओके, एक बार वो मेमोरी मेन मेमोरी में आ गया, द सिग्नल मैकेनिज्म इज यूज्ड टू नोटिफाई द प्रोसेस. नोटिफाई करना मतलब क्या है बताओ? इन्फॉर्म करना. ओके, प्रोसेस को बताया जाएगा, टू नोटिफाई द प्रोसेस दैट ओके लुक एट इट, डेटा इज अवेलेबल मतलब व्हाट एवर द डेटा इट इज रिक्वेस्टेड, नाउ इट इज अवेलेबल and okay asynchronously, and registered handler function will be asynchronously invoked. Is that clear for everyone? So whatever the handler function you have registered, so that will be asynchronously invoked. Asynchronously invoke करना मतलब क्या है? Running process को बताया जाएगा, जो भी IO operation है, okay, उसका हो गया. So now it can read the data and continue the execution again. It can read the data and continue the execution again. Is that clear? So now understand here. So okay, I am repeating. Okay, that okay, registered handler function will be asynchronously invoked and that will be informed to process whatever the data is available. My third point को फिर से बता रहा हूँ. ध्यान से सुनो, डाउट है तो सुनो अच्छे से. Last point क्या लिखे? Once IO operation is completed. Okay, क्या लिखे? Once IO operation is completed, the signal mechanism is used to notify the process. Okay, आप सिग्नल करके आप प्रोसेस को नोटिफाई कर रहे हैं. नोटिफाई करना मतलब क्या? इन्फॉर्म करना. Okay, so to notify the process, signal mechanism is used to notify the process that the data is available. जो भी डेटा वो रिक्वेस्ट किया था वो अवेलेबल है. Okay, to notify the process the data is available and registered handler function will be asynchronously invoked. Is that clear? So okay, जो हैंडलर फंक्शन किया था, okay, asynchronously इन्वोक करेगा. रनिंग प्रोसेस को बताया जाएगा जो भी डेटा वो रिक्वेस्ट किया था, जो भी IO ऑपरेशन के लिए रिक्वेस्ट किया था, वो अभी अवेलेबल है and it can read the data and continue the execution. Is that clear? So that is about asynchronous IO. Is that clear? So now tell me, if you observe the major differences, what are the major differences here? Okay, बताओ major differences. Synchronous IO में process will be placed in the block state. Synchronous IO में process will be placed in the block state. In asynchronous IO, process will not be placed in the block state. In the okay synchronous IO, you are using what? ISR. And in asynchronous IO, okay, you are using what? Handler function. Is that clear for everyone? Right. So these are the major differences, okay, between the okay synchronous and asynchronous IO. Is that clear? So now you can read that question and try to solve that. So please go to your workbook. Okay, go to your workbook. Page number 79. Okay, question number 16. Okay, read that question and try to solve. Page number 79. Read that question. जो भी अपन क्वेश्चन किए थे ना, read that question. Page number 79, question number 16. So let's move on to the solution and all that. So let's see page number 79. What is that question? Question number 16. Okay, so tell me what is the answer. So we have seen what is synchronous and asynchronous IO. So with respect to that, what is the right answer? So B. Okay. So he's talking about which is not true. So B is not true. So in both synchronous and asynchronous IO, ISR okay is invoked after completion of the IO. So that is false. Why? Because ISR is invoked only in the synchronous IO, okay, but not in the asynchronous IO. So that is a, okay, not true, that is a false statement. Okay, fine. So that is about synchronous and asynchronous IO. Fine. Next, so let's move on to the next workbook. So we'll finish up the chapter 1 and chapter 2, whatever the questions are pending. So chapter 1, 2 का workbook discuss करने का था ना, right? So there are so many new things and small topics to be discussed. We'll discuss all that one by one. Okay. So go to chapter 1. Okay. Page number कितना है? Page number 75. Please go to the workbook. Okay. So I'm writing here introduction and background of OS. Okay, so we'll discuss workbook. Okay, so I'm writing page number also. Okay, just for okay, if anybody did not get the workbook, so page number 75. Page number 75, question number, okay, 1. So we'll discuss, okay, from 1 onwards, we'll discuss all the questions. Right. So easy questions का की बताऊंगा, अगर कोई difficulty है okay question में, so I'll explain that question. Is that clear? Right. So understand here. So question number 1, what is the right answer? Solve किए सब लोग workbook. I am assuming all of you solved. Okay. So please check the answer key. Okay. Whatever the answers you are getting and what I am explaining, so please match with your answers and okay. Uncheck karo. Okay, if any difficulty in the question, okay, I will explain that. Okay, so generally all are easy questions only, right? So basic, some simple theoretical type questions. So question number 1, right answer is C. Okay, C is the right answer. Question number 2, question number 2 is what? C. C is the right answer. Which of the following is not a functionality of the operating system? So correcting the logical errors. So logical error correction is okay, that is the responsibility of the programmer, right? So operating system will not do anything. So right answer is C. Next, question number 3. Question number 3 में doubt होता है generally. Okay, I think so. So question number 3, right answer is D for Delhi. D is the right answer. I am repeating. फिर से repeat कर रहा हूँ. Question number 1 right answer C for Chennai. Question number 2 right answer C for Chennai. Question number 3 right answer D for Delhi. D is the right answer. I will explain this. Okay, somebody may have a doubt. कुछ लोगों को doubt होता है. Doubt नहीं होना चाहिए, मगर फिर भी किसी को doubt होता है. What is saying here? Consider the following 3 statements. Which of the above statements weakens the necessity of the operating system? Understand here. Which of the following, okay, above statements weakens necessity of the operating system? Okay, I don't know how you explain this in Hindi. Weakens मतलब क्या होता है? कमजोर करना. Necessity मतलब जरूरत. सही है ना, राइट? हाँ, ओके. विच ऑफ द अबव स्टेटमेंट वीकेंस नेसेसिटी ऑफ द ऑपरेशन? इसका मतलब ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का जरूरत को कमजोर करने वाला. ओके, सो डोंट ओके अंडरस्टैंड ग्रामेटिकल मिस्टेक्स इन माय हिंदी, सो प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड द मीनिंग ओनली. सो ओके, कौन सा स्टेटमेंट वीकेंस नेसेसिटी ऑफ द ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम? ओके, ऑपरेशन का जरूरत को कमजोर करेगा. सो स्टेटमेंट S1 पढ़ो, क्या पूछ रहा है? S1, इंटरैक्टिंग विद द हार्डवेयर इज ट्रिवियल. इंटरैक्टिंग विद द हार्डवेयर इज अ ट्रिवियल. ट्रिवियल का मतलब क्या होता है? ट्रिवियल, इंग्लिश मीनिंग ऑफ ट्रिवियल, okay, trivial means what? Unimportant. Okay, so that is less important. Okay, so remember English is also important. ट्रिवियल का मीनिंग तो पता होना चाहिए ना, राइट? ट्रिवियल का मीनिंग पता नहीं है तो क्या समझोगे इसको, राइट? सो इंटरैक्टिंग विद द हार्डवेयर इज अ ट्रिवियल. ट्रिवियल मीन्स व्हाट? अनइंपॉर्टेंट. सो ये बोल रहा है कि इंटरैक्टिंग विद द हार्डवेयर इज अनइंपॉर्टेंट. Remember, when you say interacting with the hardware is unimportant for you, obviously that weakens necessity of the operating system. Is that clear? The main purpose of the operating system is to interact with the hardware only. So when you say interact with the hardware is not important for you, obviously that weakens necessity of the OS. And next, main memory is unlimited. Remember, if you are having unlimited main memory, so इतना बड़ा memory management अपन पढ़ने वाले हैं. Okay, इतना बड़ा memory management दिया गया. So why you study all that? Okay, unlimited memory है, तो memory management पढ़ने का कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है. सी कोई भी चीज को आप क्यों मैनेज करोगे, यू आर हैविंग लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज, देन यू आर मैनेजिंग, राइट। अनलिमिटेड मेन मेमोरी है तो मेमोरी मैनेजमेंट पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है। सो दैट आल्सो वीकेंड्स नेसेसिटी ऑफ द ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम। एंड नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट S3, प्रोसेसिंग स्पीड ऑफ द प्रोसेसर इज अनलिमिटेड। सो इफ यू आर हैविंग अनलिमिटेड स्पीड ऑफ प्रोसेसर, इसका मतलब क्या होगा, इतना अनलिमिटेड स्पीड प्रोसेसर है, ऐसा शेड्यूल करो कंप्लीट होगा, ऐसा शेड्यूल करो कंप्लीट होगा, प्रोसेसर शेड्यूल करो कंप्लीट होगा। इसका मतलब इतना बड़ा सीपीयू शेड्यूलिंग पढ़ने का कोई जरूरत नहीं है, इतना बड़ा सीपीयू शेड्यूलिंग करने का कोई जरूरत नहीं है, यस और नो, राइट। सो ओके, सो दैट इज द रीजन। सो ऑब्वियसली दैट आल्सो वीकेंड्स नेसेसिटी ऑफ द ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम। सो ऑल द थ्री स्टेटमेंट्स वीकेंड्स नेसेसिटी ऑफ द ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम। So right answer is what? D. D is the right answer. Next, question number 4. A system with a multiple CPU is called as what? Parallel system. Remember, multi-processor system. Obviously, multi-processor system is also called as what? Parallel system. Okay. Some basic theory question, right? So आपको मालूम होना चाहिए. So system with multiple CPU is called as a parallel system. समझ में आया, right? Okay. So next, question number 5. Primary goal of the operating system. Primary goal of the operating system is what? बोर्ड के ऊपर लिखा था convenience. Convenience का मतलब क्या होता है? Easier to use. Easier to use. Right answer D for Delhi. So question number 4 D for Delhi. Question number 5 D for Delhi. Question number A. What is the answer? A. A is the right answer. A for Ahmedabad. Question number 6. Question number 6 A for Ahmedabad. System calls are usually invoked by the software interrupt. So don't worry about other things. Okay, indirect jump, polling not required. Okay. Question number 7. Okay, B for Bombay. Question number 7 B for Bombay. So that's an easy question. I think you can check. Okay. So anything difficult in that question? No, easy only. Next, question number 8. Okay, question number 8. Right answer is C for Chennai. क्वेश्चन नंबर 8, अगर किसी को डाउट है, क्वेश्चन नंबर 8, राइट आंसर इज द सी फॉर चेन्नई. सो मेमोरी हायरार्की फ्रॉम रजिस्टर टू हार्ड डिस्क. सी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, डू यू नो व्हाट इज मेमोरी हायरार्की? इफ यू ऑब्जर्व द मेमोरी हायरार्की, यू विल हैव समथिंग लाइक दिस. ओके, मेमोरी हायरार्की विल हैव समथिंग लाइक दिस. ओके, okay, this is not writing. Okay, so right here. So memory hierarchy you will have something like this. So you will have the first register memory. याद है, थोड़ा बीटेक में पढ़ते ये सब. Okay, register memory. Next cache memory. Okay, next main memory. Okay, and next secondary memory. Okay, this is the memory hierarchy, right? Memory hierarchy. Okay, so we'll study in the CO computer organization में पूरा पढ़ते अपन इजली है. So okay, so right answer is C. ये क्या बोल रहा है? false पूछ रहा है. access time decreases. Okay, look at here, we are coming from register to moving from register to hard disk. So जब आप ऊपर से इधर आ रहे हैं, so ये क्या बोल रहा है? access time decreases बोल रहा है. No, access time increases. Why? Because register will be very very faster. और थोड़ा कैश में थोड़ा स्पीड कम होगा, मेन मेमोरी और कम होगा स्पीड, सेकेंडरी तो बहुत स्लो रहेगा. सो व्हेन यू आर कमिंग फ्रॉम टॉप टू बॉटम हियर, एक्सेस टाइम विल इंक्रीज. बहुत टाइम लगेगा इसको एक्सेस करने में, इजली. सो एक्सेस टाइम विल इंक्रीज व्हेन यू कमिंग फ्रॉम रजिस्टर टू सेकेंडरी मेमोरी. सो ये बोला है कि एक्सेस टाइम डिक्रीजेस, सो दैट इज फॉल्स. ओके, सो राइट आंसर इज द सी फॉर चेन्नई. Question number 9, okay, C for Chennai. C is the right answer. Okay, so that is a easy question, you can solve. Question number 10. Question number 10. What is the answer? Okay, A is the right answer. Question number 10, A is the right answer. RAM is a volatile memory. So I think all of you know this, right? So RAM is a volatile memory. Now tell me, RAM is volatile बोल रहा है. Volatile मतलब क्या होता है? बोलो, volatile मतलब क्या होता है? Volatile means, हाँ, कुछ लोग सोच रहे हैं उड़ जाएगा, गायब हो जाएगा, ऐसा कुछ सोच रहे हैं क्या? राइट, प्रॉपर इंग्लिश में बोलो, सिंपल एंड गुड इंग्लिश में. सो वोलेटाइल मीन्स व्हेन यू स्विच ऑफ द पावर, कंटेंट्स विल वैनिश. व्हेन यू स्विच ऑफ द पावर, द कंटेंट्स विल वैनिश और एरेज. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ वोलेटाइल. ओके, सो रैम इज अ वोलेटाइल मेमोरी. सो राइट आंसर इज ए फॉर अहमदाबाद. क्वेश्चन नंबर 11. ओके, सी फॉर चेन्नई. नोट्स में लिखाया था जॉब डन बाय मिड टर्म शेड्यूलर इज कॉल्ड एज अ स्वैपिंग. Okay, question number 11, C for Chennai. Question number 12, B for Bombay. Special job queue, okay, that is is create a job queue is called as a spooler, just like a printer spooler daemon. अपन synchronization में पढ़े थे printer spooler daemon, याद है, right? So it's just like a spooler is the right answer. Okay, So question number 13. Question number 13. Right answer is B for Bombay. So on receiving an interrupt from IO device, okay, so right answer is branches of interrupt service routine after completion of the current instruction. So what is the meaning of this interrupt service routine? You will study in the CO. Already अभी थोड़ा बताया था. It's just like an event handler. So okay, branches of interrupt after completion of the current instruction only. Current instruction को complete करने के बाद ही okay ISR will take care. Okay, right, of handling the interrupt. सो इसका मतलब क्या होता है अगर किसी को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ओके टेंशन मत लो ओके सीओ में पूरा आप इसके बारे में पढ़ते हैं कंप्यूटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में सो जस्ट लीव दैट सो राइट आंसर बी फॉर बॉम्बे क्वेश्चन नंबर 14 राइट आंसर दिस अ गुड क्वेश्चन क्वेश्चन नंबर 14 राइट आंसर इज बताओ क्या होगा किया था सब लोग क्वेश्चन नंबर 14 राइट आंसर इज डी फॉर दिल्ली डी इज द राइट आंसर ओके व्हाई डी इज द राइट आंसर लिसन हियर. So he has given two statements which of the above are true. Okay, he is saying that statement S1 throughput always increases with the increase in the degree of multi-programming. Listen here, throughput always increases with the increase in the degree of multi-programming. That is false. Why? Because okay, throughput when you are increasing the degree of multi-programming, throughput थोड़ी देर तक इंक्रीज होगा उसके बाद फिर से क्या हो जाएगा डिक्रीज हो जाएगा. और ये कैसे होगा ऐसा क्यों होगा ओके इसके बारे में देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट कॉल्ड थ्रैशिंग. ओके कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट है थ्रैशिंग बोल के कॉन्सेप्ट है अपने को आएगा वर्चुअल मेमोरी में मेमोरी मैनेजमेंट में आएगा वर्चुअल मेमोरी में लास्ट में आएगा. ओके थ्रैशिंग बोले तो सो थ्रैशिंग क्या होता है सो व्हेन यू इंक्रीज द डिग्री ऑफ मल्टी प्रोग्रामिंग थोड़ी देर के लिए थ्रूपुट इंक्रीज होगा उसके बाद फिर से इंक्रीज करने से क्या होगा ओके डिग्री ऑफ मल्टी प्रोग्रामिंग बढ़ाने से क्या होगा ऑब्वियसली थ्रूपुट ऑफ द सिस्टम विल डिक्रीज. इज दैट क्लियर. सो ये बोल रहा है कि ये क्या बोल रहा था क्वेश्चन में राइट थ्रूपुट ऑलवेज इंक्रीज विद द इंक्रीज ऑफ डिग्री ऑफ मल्टी प्रोग्रामिंग दैट इज फॉल्स. ओके स्टेटमेंट फॉल्स है. ओके ये क्यों फॉल्स है आप थ्रैशिंग में पढ़ेंगे अपन. नेक्स्ट so statement S2 interrupt can be handled in between execution of instruction. Okay obviously that is false. In between it is not possible. After completion of the current instruction only possible. After completion of the current instruction only possible. Okay so both are false. Next right answer is okay D for Delhi. Question number 15 right answer is D for Delhi. ये क्या बोल रहा है सिस्टम कॉल्स cannot be grouped into बोल रहा है. Understand here system calls are grouped in all the areas. Okay it means like okay device management communication process control in all the areas we will use the system calls. System calls are used in all the areas. So okay saying that cannot be used or you say cannot be grouped in so it means okay none of the above. See actually ये chapter 1-2 जो है ना ये these are all the some simple basic theory concept you should know that. So there will not be any gate question from this but it's a simple basic. Okay you should remember इसीलिए I told you to read chapter 1-2 Galvin. I think if you remember for chapter 1-2 के लिए Galvin पढ़ने के लिए मैं बोला था. Okay right. Next okay so only for this if you want to study anything okay only just chapter 1-2 थोड़ा scan कर लो अगर करना है तो right otherwise not required. So whatever we are discussing that is sufficient. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 ओके इसके लिए कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ना पड़ेगा. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इंस्ट्रक्शंस आर प्रिविलाइज्ड. ओके सो द आंसर्स नो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ प्रिविलाइज्ड एंड नॉन प्रिविलाइज्ड. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड हियर. ओके सो इसके लिए कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ेंगे. सो आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ यू फॉलोइंग द क्लास I am assuming all of you followed the class carefully and followed my instructions. मैंने क्या बता I told you to leave 4 pages in the beginning of the okay first chapter. फर्स्ट चैप्टर के बाद 4 पेज छोड़ने के लिए बोला था वहां पे लिखना है अभी इसलिए कुछ लोग सोच रहे थे 4 पेज तो ऐसे ही छोड़ दिए क्या करेंगे वो समझ नहीं आ रहा. ओके डोंट वरी अबाउट ऑल दैट. ओके सो पहले मैं 4 पेजेस छोड़ने के लिए बोला था. अगर आप मेरा क्लास फॉलो कर रहे हैं सीरियसली लेक्चर 1 से मैं पहले लेक्चर में बताया था ओके पहले 4 पेज छोड़ के प्रोसेस मैनेजमेंट हेडिंग लगाए थे आप लोग right. So okay wherever the okay you left that 4 pages in the blank pages now you write this. Okay so note down. So first understand this dual mode operation. You will understand what is the meaning of privileged non privileged and all that. Keep the heading dual mode operation. Please copy this. This is a non-privileged mode. This is privileged mode. Just copy this also. You have mode bit 0 or 1. If it is 0, that is kernel mode. If it is 1, that is a user mode. So please copy this also. So copy everything carefully. So मैं जो 4 पेज छोड़ने के लिए बोला था ना पहले, ओके वहां पे लिखो अच्छे से. So keep the heading dual mode operation, user mode, kernel mode. It is also called as non-privileged mode and it's called as privileged mode. So it's a mode bit here. It takes 0 or 1. Kernel 0 is the kernel mode, 1 is the user mode. I will explain all that. मैं पूरा समझाऊंगा. So please copy that carefully. Okay, so if you are not copied, you can pause my video. If you are not copied, you can pause my video and copy that. Okay, right. So first listen all the points. Okay, मैं notes देता हूँ पूरा अच्छे से, पूरा notes देता हूँ, पहले सुनो अच्छे से. Okay, इसके बारे में. Then you can okay make a notes. मैं notes dictate करता हूँ आपको. Okay, पहले सुनो अच्छे से. So okay, next we are moving on to dual mode operation. What is the meaning of dual mode operation? Listen here. In the hardware level, when you are executing the instructions, listen carefully. In the hardware level, when we are executing the instructions, instructions are executed, okay, by using the 2 different modes. Understand here. In the hardware level, the instructions are executed by using the 2 different modes. Okay, one is a user mode and next is a kernel mode. पहले सुनो अच्छे से, don't write any notes. I will make the dictation, proper dictation. So you are having 2 different modes, that is the user mode and the kernel mode. In the hardware level, when you are executing the instructions are executed by using 2 different modes. Okay, that is user mode and kernel mode. User mode is also called as non-privileged mode. Kernel mode is also called as a privileged mode. See, first of all, why we are using okay the 2 different modes? Why we are using 2 different modes is the dual mode operation. The dual mode operation is used in order to provide. Listen carefully. The dual mode operation is used in order to provide the protection and security to the user programs and also to the operating system from errant users. Look at here, errant users. See, errant users मतलब क्या है? Okay, errant users मतलब corrupted users, or you say unauthorized users, corrupted user, or you say hackers. So that is the reason, to provide a proper protection and security to the user programs and also to the operating system from errant users, the dual mode operation is used. Now remember, okay, whenever you are trying to execute any instruction, it is purely the decision of operating system. It is purely the decision of operating system in which particular mode the instruction has to be executed. Okay, it is purely decision of operating system. Okay, OS decide करेगा कौन सा मोड में कोई instruction को चलाना है, right? So it is purely the decision of the operating system in which particular mode the instruction has to be executed. Remember, generally the privileged instructions are executed in the kernel mode. Privileged instructions are executed in the kernel mode and non-privileged instructions are executed in the user mode. इसका मतलब क्या है? Privileged instruction means what? Which requires more protection and security. Like context switching, or you say IO operation. So okay, privileged instructions which requires more protection and security, like operating system instructions. So they are all called as what? Privileged instructions which require more protection and security. The privileged instructions are executed in the kernel mode and non-privileged instructions like simple instructions like okay, student instructions, student process instructions, so they will be executed in the user mode. Now remember, the mode bit is used to identify in which particular mode the current instruction is executing. Mode bit is used to identify in which particular mode the current instruction is executing. Now remember, if the mode bit is 0, it means what? Current instruction is in the kernel mode. Mode bit is 0 है तो kernel mode, 1 है तो क्या होगा? User mode. Is it clear? Right. Now remember the next important point, when we are starting our computer, when you are starting the computer initially, when you start your computer initially, in the booting time, starting time मतलब क्या होता है? Booting time. In the booting time, the system always starts only in the kernel mode. In the booting time, the system always starts only in the kernel mode. Why? Because operating system instructions are obviously privileged instructions. Boot time में obviously बहुत सारे memory को load करना पड़ता है, operating system का process को चलाना पड़ता है, memory main memory में OS को लाना पड़ता है. So there are so many important activities. Right? So that is the reason. Initially in the boot time, the system always starts only in the kernel mode. So once OS is loaded, uske baad depending on the type of instruction it is executing, it will switch from kernel mode to user mode to kernel mode. Right? So like that is going to switch like that. And next important point, remember, operating system always runs only in the kernel mode. Remember, all the instructions of the operating system are considered to be privileged. All the instructions of the operating system are considered to be privileged and they will execute only in the kernel mode. Is it clear for everyone? Right? So these are all the important points you need to make in notes. Note down one by one. समझते हुए फिर से लिखो अच्छे से. Note down. In the hardware level, first point, in the hardware level, the instructions are executed by using dual mode operation. Instructions are executed by using dual mode operation. So what is the dual mode? Note down. Next line mein likho. First one, user mode, or it is also called as what? Non-privileged mode. Second one is kernel mode, privileged mode, kernel mode, privileged mode. Sometimes it is also called as system mode or monitor mode. Meaning of all this is the same only. So different textbook will say the different name. So kernel mode, privileged mode, system mode or monitor mode. So meaning of all that is the same only. Right? Copy करो अच्छे से. No doubt. Next point, the dual mode operation. No doubt. The dual mode operation is used. The dual mode operation is used in order to provide. The dual mode operation is used in order to provide the protection and security. The dual mode operation is used in order to provide protection and security to the operating system, and also to the user programs, from errant users. यहाँ पे लिखा है ऑलरेडी errant users, बोर्ड के ऊपर लिखा है errant user मतलब क्या है? Unauthorized user, hacker, okay, right? Illegal user, something like that. From errant users, full stop. Note down. Next point. It is purely, next point. It is purely the decision of the operating system. It is purely the decision of the operating system in which particular mode the instruction in which particular mode the instruction has to be executed. It is purely the decision of the operating system in which particular mode the instruction has to be executed. In which particular mode the instruction has to be executed. Note down. Next point. The privileged instructions. The privileged instructions are executed in the kernel mode. The privileged instructions are executed in the kernel mode, and the non-privileged instructions are executed in the user mode. Non-privileged instructions are executed in the user mode. Okay, full stop. Note down. Next point. The mode bit is used. यहाँ पे लिखा है mode bit. The mode bit is used to identify. The mode bit is used to identify in which particular mode the current instruction is executing. The mode bit is used to identify in which particular mode the current instruction is executing. Full stop. Okay, next, note down. In the booting time, okay, when you start the computer, in the booting time, the system always starts, in the booting time, the system always starts only in the kernel mode. In the booting time, the system always starts only in the kernel mode. Next point. The operating system always runs. The operating system always runs only in the kernel mode. Operating system always runs only in the kernel mode. Operating system always runs only in the kernel mode. Okay. Is it clear for everyone? So all are important points you should remember. Okay. So next one, note down some important point. So keep it as note. एक statement लिखो अच्छे से. So this was asked okay once in the GATE exam. Okay. So note down this point. Okay. I think it's very old GATE. I think okay, very 1980 something like that. Okay, maybe. Okay. So note down. Keep it as note. Okay. Note down the statement. The mode switching takes very less time compared to process switching. Okay. The mode switching takes very less time compared to process switching. Is that clear? Right. So the answer is say the mode switching takes very less time compared to process switching. See, what is the meaning of mode switch? Look at here. Initially mode bit will be what? Okay, understand here. So initially mode bit will be what? 0. Because initially system will always starts only in the kernel mode. Initially mode bit will be what? 0. Because initially system starts in the kernel mode. Now remember, if you want to switch from kernel mode to user mode, what you need to update is only mode bit. Is that clear? So if you update from 0 to 1, it means what? You are switching from kernel mode to user mode. So if you are changing it to, okay, 1 to 0, it means what? You are switching from again user mode to kernel mode. So mode switching takes very, very less time compared to process switching. If you observe the process switch में क्या होता है? You are switching between two process P1 and P2. Then what happens? You need to update program counter. You need to update, okay, process state. Okay, there are multiple attributes you need to update in the PCB for the switching of the two process. Is that clear? So process switching तो बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लेता है क्योंकि बहुत सारे attributes को update करना पड़ेगा. Okay, so okay, what is this here? Mode switching takes very, very less time compared to process switching, because in the mode switching you just update only mode bit. Okay, और mode bit को change किया तो इसका मतलब you switching from kernel to user. Okay, अभी 1 to 0 किया तो it means you are switching from user to kernel, right? So like this. But in the process switching you need to update multiple attributes in the PCB. Okay, for the processes. Okay, so that takes more time. वो बहुत ज़्यादा time लेगा. Is that clear? So इसको याद रखना है अच्छे से. Okay, you need to remember this note. Next, now understand the next point. Okay, listen here. We said that privileged instructions are executed in the kernel mode and non-privileged instructions are executed in the user mode. Understand carefully. Privileged instructions are executed in the kernel mode, non-privileged executed in the user mode. So what are called as the privileged instructions? Like important instructions, which will take more protection and security, which requires more protection and security. So what are the examples? Okay, note down. So keep the heading privileged instructions. So please make a note of this, privileged instructions. So which are called as the privileged instructions? Okay, just listen here. So example, IO operation. So IO operation is considered as a privileged instruction. Like example, you are reading any file, okay, from the, okay, secondary memory to main memory. So that is called as what? A privileged instruction. Okay. So next is a context switching. So obviously, so context switching also PCB program counter, you update multiple things. So context switching also considered as a privileged instruction. Okay, and next set the time of clock. Set the time of clock. Okay, understand here. So set the time of the clock. Okay, clock time in the sense what? कौन सा clock है? System clock. Exactly, अपना clock नहीं है, right? System clock. So set the time of clock. Okay, you are setting. Okay, you are updating the time of the system. So that is considered to be what? A privileged instruction, because that requires more protection and security. And next, disabling the interrupts. Okay, disabling the interrupts. Okay, let's say you are disabling all the interrupts in the hardware level. Okay, that is considered to be privileged instruction. Okay, no doubt. Next, changing the memory map. Okay, so changing the memory map. Changing the memory map means what? Changing the process from one memory location to other memory location. So changing the process from one memory location to other memory location, that is called as a changing the memory map. So that is also considered as a privileged instruction. Okay, next, clearing the memory map. So clearing the memory map. Okay, so clearing memory map means what? Simple. Okay, deallocating memory to the process. So process को अपन memory में से बाहर हटा रहे हैं, इसलिए बाहर निकाल दे रहे हैं. So deallocating memory to the process once it is completed the execution. So that is also called as what? A privileged instruction. So remember, these are the some of the known instructions, some of the known privileged instructions. Is that clear? So let's see what is a non-privileged instruction. Let's note down. So some of the examples of non-privileged instructions. Okay, no doubt. Non-privileged instructions, which are called as non-privileged instructions, just examples. Okay, note down. Okay, reading the time of clock. Reading time of clock. So you are just performing only read operation. You are reading the time of the system clock. Okay, clock in the sense system clock only. So reading time of the system clock. So that is considered as what? Okay, non-privileged instruction. And next, okay, reading the status of the processor. So reading the status of the processor. Okay, if it is not visible, so I am repeating. Okay, I think visible, right? So reading the status of the processor. Okay, you are just performing only read operation. You are reading what is the status of the processor. It means how much percentage the processor is busy, ओके सीपीयू की यूटिलाइजेशन कितना है, ओके आप रीड कर रहे हो, ओके सो दैट इज जस्ट कॉल्ड एज व्हाट, अ नॉन प्रिविलेज्ड इंस्ट्रक्शन, okay so these are the okay some of the known examples of privileged instructions and some of the known examples of what, non privileged instructions. So come back to the question, page number 76, question number 16 15 तक हो गए ना, क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 पढ़ो, अभी पढ़ो क्वेश्चन, ओके सारे आपके सामने है, ऑल आर गिवन ऑन द बोर्ड, क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 अभी पढ़ो, वर्कबुक निकाल के पेज नंबर 76 क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 अभी पढ़ो। अभी पढ़ो, व्हाट इज द आंसर, डी इज द राइट आंसर, डी फॉर दिल्ली, राइट। सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 17 व्हाट इज द राइट आंसर, डी फॉर सॉरी क्वेश्चन नंबर 17 सी फॉर चेन्नई, okay program counter specifies address of the next instruction to be executed, so that is C for Chennai, I think you know that already. So question number 18, okay B for Bombay, bootstrap loader, okay stored in the ROM, okay ROM में होता है, so remember bootstrap loader is the one which is going to load the operating system from secondary memory to main memory when you start your computer, okay जब हम सिस्टम का अपन स्टार्ट करते, जब आप पावर बटन दबाया इनिशियली सारे तुम्हारा ओएस कहां पे रहेगा, सेकेंडरी मेमोरी में रहेगा ना, राइट। सो जब आप बटन दबाया, ओके पावर बटन दबाया, तो क्या होगा, ये बूटस्ट्रैप लोडर एक प्रोग्राम होता है, इसमें क्या होता है, इनिट प्रोसेस होता है, अंडरस्टैंड हियर, ओके इनिट प्रोसेस होता है। सो ये बूटस्ट्रैप लोडर कहां पे रहता है, रॉम में रहता है, रॉम क्या है, ओके फ्लैश मेमोरी टाइप होता है, रॉम फ्लैश मेमोरी टाइप होता है। सो ये रॉम में रहेगा बूटस्ट्रैप लोडर, ये करता क्या है, बूटस्ट्रैप लोडर करता क्या है, okay it will simply load the operating system okay from secondary memory to main memory, बस इतना ही काम है। so एक बार ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम मेन मेमोरी में आ गया, so then operating system will take care of everything, is that clear? So responsibility of the bootstrap loader is just to load okay the operating system from secondary memory to main memory. So once the OS comes into the main memory, OS will take care of all the functionality of your computer, right? So and the bootstrap loader is resides in which place, वो कहाँ पे रहता है, that will be stored in the ROM, okay so read only memory, so ROM is just like a okay chip, flash memory type chip होता है, okay वो मदरबोर्ड के ऊपर रहता है। नेक्स्ट आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ यू नो दिस, ये सब मालूम होना चाहिए, ये सब मालूम होना चाहिए, ये सब मैं नहीं बताना चाहिए, ये तो छोटा छोटा चीज़ है, राइट आजकल ओके क्या बोलते हैं 10th क्लास 12th क्लास स्टूडेंट्स को मालूम होता है, कंप्यूटर स्टार्ट हो गया सबको। सो फाइन, क्वेश्चन नंबर 19 व्हाट इज आंसर, एक बार पढ़ो, जो लोग सॉल्व नहीं किया सारे आपके सामने है, क्वेश्चन नंबर 19 read that, okay so right answer is B for Bombay, question number 19, okay B for Bombay, all are given on the board, right? So these are all the privileged instructions executed in the kernel mode, okay question number 20 पढ़ो, जो लोग नहीं पढ़े अभी पढ़ो, मेरा वीडियो पास करके अभी पढ़ के सॉल्व करो। अभी पढ़ो। So question number 20, right answer is what? C for Chennai. Remember, okay, C for Chennai is the right answer. Okay, so multi-user, multi-processing operation cannot be implemented on a hardware that does not support two modes of execution, like privileged and non-privileged. Remember, whenever you say multi-user and multi-processing, the answer is not to say whenever you say multi-user and multi-processing, obviously that requires more protection and security. So obviously that requires more protection and security. It means definitely you require the two different modes. Okay, that is the okay privileged and non-privileged. So right answer C for Chennai. Question number 20. Which of the following is false? एक बार पढ़ो. Question number 21. Question number 20 C for Chennai. बता दिया ना? 21 पढ़ो अभी. पास करो, वीडियो पास करके करो. जो लोग नहीं पढ़े अभी करो. Right. So right answer is what? Question number 21, D for Delhi. Okay. ओके, ऑल द पॉइंट्स आर गिवन इन द नोट्स, अभी तो लिखवाया, सारे पॉइंट्स अभी नोट्स में लिखवाया आपको, ओके राइट. सो ऑल आर ट्रू स्टेटमेंट्स ओनली. फॉल्स पूछा है तो डी फॉर दिल्ली. क्वेश्चन नंबर 22, व्हाट इज द राइट आंसर? बी फॉर बॉम्बे. The distributed systems, the main aim of the distributed system is what? Better resource sharing. Better resource sharing is the right answer. So okay, right, that is the aim of the distributed system. Question number 22. Question number 23, the main function of the shared memory is the inter-process communication, that is the IPC. okay, so अपन पढ़े ना synchronization में पढ़े थे. So classical problems of IPC, the main function of the shared memory is the inter-process communication. okay, you just need to remember that. 23 right answer, C for Chennai. 22 right answer, B for Bombay, right? So that is about chapter 1. okay, right. So move on to the chapter 2. So chapter 2, that is the processes and threads. okay, I think it is visible. So chapter 2 पे जाओ. All are easy questions. okay, so इसमें एक चीज इंपॉर्टेंट चीज पढ़ने का है, so that we will discuss. So chapter 2 question number 1. question number 1 पढ़ो, क्या दिया? Question number 1, what is the answer? okay, C for Chennai. Question number 2, what is the answer? B for Bombay. I am assuming all of you solved. very very easy question है, उसको explain नहीं करूंगा और नहीं करना भी चाहिए. अगर हर एक क्वेश्चन को मैं एक्सप्लेन करता हूं तो इसको डिस्कस करने में, एक एक क्वेश्चन को मैं पूरा समझाऊं, 5-5 मिनट 10-10 मिनट इसी के लिए जाएगा, राइट. सो जिसमें थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट लगेगा, जो आपको थोड़ा डाउट होता है, वो मैं बताऊंगा. इजलिए अगर जो चीज मैं एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर रहा हूं, जो क्वेश्चन को मैं एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर रहा हूं, उसको आप सॉल्व करना ही करना है. ऑब्वियसली आपको सॉल्व करना ही करना है. इजलिए राइट. सो एवरी क्वेश्चन आई कैन नॉट एक्सप्लेन. डोंट एक्सपेक्ट ऑल्सो. ओके, सी यू नीड टू इंप्रूव योर स्किल्स, राइट. यू नीड टू इंप्रूव योर स्किल्स, दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. सो मैक्सिमम आई विल हेल्प यू, मैक्सिमम आई विल हेल्प यू. थोड़ा डाउट होता है क्वेश्चन में तो मैं समझाऊंगा अच्छे से. सो अगर बहुत छोटा चीज है तो आप ओके डाउट है तो देख लेना, आप खुद से देख लेना, मगर ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, आप कर सकते हो पूरा, राइट. ओके फाइन. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. Question number 2, B for Bombay. Question number 3, A for Ahmedabad. Question number 4, B for Bombay. क्लास में किए थे अपन, फर्स्ट क्लास में किए थे सिमिलर एग्जाम्पल. Question number 5, okay, question number 4, B for Bombay. Question number 5, D for Delhi. Question number 5, D for Delhi. Look at here, if the process requires IO operation, then that will be placed in the wait state. So if the process requires IO operation, that will be placed in the wait state. And remember, wait state is implemented, okay, in the form of IOQ. Wait state is implemented in the form of IOQ. Is that clear? Right. So question number 5, right answer D for Delhi. Question number 6. Question number 6, right answer is C for Chennai. C for Chennai. Question number 7. Okay, understand here. Question number 7, C for Chennai. Okay, question number 7, the time taken, time difference between the first result and the submission of the job, मतलब अराइवल टाइम. फर्स्ट रिजल्ट माइनस अराइवल टाइम. ओके, डेफिनेशन किसका है? रिस्पॉन्स टाइम. नोट्स में तो लिखे थे, राइट. सबमिशन ऑफ द जॉब, सबमिशन टाइम मतलब क्या है? अराइवल टाइम. सो राइट आंसर इज सी फॉर चेन्नई. क्वेश्चन नंबर 8. क्वेश्चन नंबर 8, इसमें थोड़ा डाउट होने का चांस है. राइट आंसर इज व्हाट? क्वेश्चन नंबर 8, राइट आंसर इज सी फॉर चेन्नई. Okay, if anybody is having doubt, I'll explain this. Question number 8, doubt नहीं होना चाहिए actually. Okay. So chapter 2, question number 8. ये क्या बोल रहा है? Understand here. Okay, question number 8. So let's say you are having process state diagram here. Ready state. Okay, running state. Wait state. Okay, so just listen carefully what is saying in the question. Only one of the following is initiated by the user program. Only one of the following is initiated by the user program, but all other are initiated by the external entities. Okay, but all other are initiated by the external entities. Understand here. Okay, so okay, statement A में जाओ. Okay, ready to running. Now tell me, ready to running, who will initiate? Okay, who will initiate this? Okay, ready to running. Okay, short term scheduler will select the process here and dispatcher will dispatch. देखो दोनों काम करता है यहाँ पे, इधर से इधर लाने में. यहाँ पे short term scheduler will select the process and the dispatcher will dispatch. Okay, by performing context switching and all that. Okay, that is option A, that is done by dispatcher and short term scheduler. Option B, transfer from running to ready state, that is also taken care by what? Dispatcher only. And next option D में जाओ, ट्रांसफर फ्रॉम ब्लॉक स्टेट टू रेडी स्टेट. अभी अभी बताया, तो ब्लॉक टू रेडी प्रोसेस को लाने वाला कौन है? प्रोसेस को इधर से इधर लाने वाला. हु विल ब्रिंग द प्रोसेस फ्रॉम ब्लॉक स्टेट टू रेडी स्टेट? आई टोल्ड यू हाउ. ओके, जस्ट नाउ, जस्ट बिफोर दिस, okay, synchronous and asynchronous IO. What is that? ISR. So interrupt service routine will bring the process from block state to ready state once this IO is completed in the wait state. Okay, so this is initiated by the ISR. This is taken care by short term scheduler dispatcher. This is the dispatcher. But option C, this is initiated by what? External entity. This is initiated by the user program only. Only one of the following is initiated by the user program. What is that is initiated by the user program? That is the running state to block state. Look at here. So running state to block state, this is initiated by the user program only. Why? Because let's say you are having instruction I1, I2, I3, I4, I5 like this. So when the CPU is executing this, okay, CPU instruction hai, execute, CPU instruction hai, execute, CPU instruction hai, execute. Now remember, when it's trying to execute this is the IO instruction. Assume that this requires IO operation. So like for example, you are having scanf statement. So if this is the scanf statement and this requires IO operation, then okay, it will come from running state to what? Wait state. So this initiation is done by the user program only. Okay, running में से ready wait में आने के लिए कोई भी initiate नहीं करेगा. Okay, user program अपने आप initiate करेगा. कैसे? Okay, if the next instruction is the IO instruction, so it will initiate. Okay, it will come from running state to wait state. So that is initiated by the user program only. So right answer is the C for Chennai. Question number 9. Question number 9. What is the right answer? D for Delhi. Question number 9. D is the right answer. The purpose of suspending a process. Purpose of suspending a process is the system falls short of resources. Okay, already I told you when I discussed the process state diagram. Okay, it is there in the notes. Whenever the resources are not sufficient, we will suspend the process from wait state to suspend ready. So ready state to suspend ready and wait to suspend wait. याद है सबको? Right? Okay, right answer is D for Delhi. Question number 10. पढ़ो. Question number 10 पढ़ो. Question number 10. Right answer is the D for Delhi. And question number 11. राइट आंसर डी फॉर दिल्ली. नोट्स में लिखवाया था. ओके, लॉन्ग टर्म शेड्यूलर कंट्रोल्स डिग्री ऑफ द मल्टी प्रोग्रामिंग नोट्स में लिखे थे. एंड क्वेश्चन नंबर 12 13 के लिए वी नीड टू डिस्कस द फोर्क सिस्टम कॉल. So that we will discuss later, maybe in the next session. I'll discuss because that requires around 25-30 minutes of explanation is required. I'll discuss that. Okay, just ignore question number 12-13. I will remember clearly. I will discuss in the next session. No need to worry about that. So okay, just move on to the next question. Question number 14. Question number 14. Right answer D for Delhi. Already किए थे अपन क्लास में. Okay, आज का क्लास में. Question number 15. पढ़ो एक बार पढ़ो सामने. अरे सारे चीज आपके सामने. Question number 15. Right answer is A for Ahmedabad. Okay, A is the right answer. Question number 16. What is the right answer? B for Bombay. B for Bombay. Question number 17. Okay, question number 17. किए थे सब लोग? Okay, question number 17. Okay, is asking about the false statement. Right answer is the C for Chennai. If anybody is having doubt, okay, C पढ़ो. क्या दिया C में? User level threads cannot be implemented on an operating system that does not support threads. Okay, आज का क्लास है. Okay, maybe you can try this after going home. User level threads cannot be implemented on a OS that does not support threads बोल रहा है. This is false. Look at here. User level threads implement करने के लिए, to implement the user level threads, your operating system is supporting threads or not supporting threads does not matter. Why? Because operating system cannot recognize user level threads at all. Operating system cannot recognize user level threads at all. So okay, so C is a okay false statement. Is asking false. C is the right answer. Question number 18. A for Ahmedabad. Already किए थे. Okay, question number 19. अभी पढ़ो. पास करो, वीडियो पास करो. सारे आपके सामने है, बोर्ड के ऊपर अच्छे से इसके रिलेटेड जो भी है. ओके, पास माय वीडियो एंड सॉल्व दैट क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन नंबर 19 सॉल्व करो. Okay, Question number 19. Right answer is what? D for Delhi. D is the right answer. D for Delhi. What it says here? Okay, first assertion में क्या दिया? Okay, application program can perform its own IO while executing in the user mode. So first of all, okay, application program cannot perform IO operation while executing in the user mode because IO is a privileged instruction. IO is a privileged instruction and that can be executed only in the kernel mode. IO is a privileged instruction that can be executed only in the kernel mode. Okay, so assertion given is what? False. Our reason क्या दिया ये? IO instructions are user mode बोला. So that is also false. IO instructions are not user mode. That is the kernel mode. Is that clear for everyone? Right. So next question number 20. पढ़ो एक बार. Oh, already किए थे ना इसको? Right. Question number 20. Right answer is D for Delhi. Right. So very good. So now all the questions are done except this fork. Okay, right? Question number 12, 13 pending है. So I'll discuss that in the maybe in the next video. So no need to worry. So class अच्छे से follow करो. Okay, मैं जैसा offline class में रेगुलर क्लास में नॉर्मल ऑफलाइन क्लास में मैं कैसे पढ़ाता हूं एग्जैक्टली सेम मैनर में पढ़ा रहा हूं. देयर इज नो डिफरेंस एट ऑल ओके टू माय ऑफलाइन क्लास एंड माय ऑनलाइन क्लास. सो दैट इज हाउ आई एम फॉलोइंग. आई एम गिविंग सफिशिएंट टाइम टू सॉल्व द वर्कबुक एंड नेक्स्ट सेशंस आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस द वर्कबुक. ओके, नेक्स्ट सेशंस आई विल डिस्कस द वर्कबुक ऑफ व्हाट? सिंक्रोनाइजेशन एंड आल्सो डेडलॉक्स. मेक श्योर योर वर्कबुक इज कंप्लीटेड. दैट इज द प्राइमरी थिंग. मेरे क्लास के साथ साथ में वर्कबुक कंप्लीट होना चाहिए. समझ में आया सबको? राइट. कुछ भी पेंडिंग मत रखो. ओके, अगर आपके पास टाइम है तो गेट क्वेश्चंस को भी सॉल्व करो. राइट, गेट अगर मोटा बुक अगर आपको मिला है गेट प्रीवियस सॉल्व का वो भी सॉल्व करो, मगर वर्कबुक इज अ प्राइमरी थिंग. ओके, वो तो जरूर कंप्लीट होना चाहिए. इज दैट क्लियर? सो प्लीज ओके फॉलो दैट. सो ओके, नाउ इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन ओके आई विल डिस्कस द फोर्क सिस्टम कॉल and then I will enter into memory management. Okay, right. Hope you are following the class. Okay, so thank you. Take care. Bye bye.